Hello and welcome to Renew, Recreate, Recover, You. My name is Julianne Williams. I'm the author of Head Above Water, which is my story of overcoming the tragic death of my husband at a young age. Today we're going to talk about grieving losses in life. So let's get started. Grief is something every human experiences at some point in his or her life. While there are actually losses we generally speak about, death of a spouse, a loved one, or child, we actually experience grief and trauma from many circumstances in which we find ourselves. Some examples are divorce, miscarriage, loss of a job, loss of personal assets such as a home or investment, issues at work with a boss or performance failures, children moving out of the home, retirement, a significant change in your health status, the loss of a pet. There are many things that push us into grief, and grief is truly learning to live with the absence of something that we treasured. Grief is the term that we use to describe the emotions we experience after the loss of a person or significant piece of our life. We know based on research conducted by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross that there are stages of grief we will experience. I'll say this a couple of times, but one very important point to note is that the stages are not a linear process, but a collection of emotions as we learn to live without the loss we have experienced. Depending on which article you read, there are either 5 or 7 stages of grief. As a reminder, I'm going to list them very quickly. The 5-phase model has denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. The 7-stage model talks about shock, denial, anger and frustration, depression, testing, and decision and integration. No matter which model you embrace, the truth is that there's no straight line to recovery, and there's no right way to grieve. There's also no wrong way to grieve. Having lost my husband to suicide at the age of 36, I received a lot of advice and had a lot of expectations placed on me from family, friends, work, and my children. The journey of grief is a very personal and unique circumstance for each and every one of us. Some people find they even, quote, go back to an earlier stage many years later. There may be a triggering event that would have been shared with your loved one, or if you're reviewing your current life and evaluating what you thought might happen but didn't manifest. That doesn't mean you have to go back through the rest of the phases. You can quickly get back to acceptance. The important thing is to really let those emotions come to the forefront so you can deal with them and they don't get stuck. The truth is, we grieve more than just the loss in the present moment. Of course, when we first lose someone or something that was valuable to us, we feel these acute and painful emotions. However, it helps to understand that there are aspects of the loss that accompany the initial experience. As we think of the loss, when it's happening, we think of the time we shared and we grieve the fact that there will be no more. We think of the things that will be missed, and we think about the future that we thought we would have had. I distinctly remember in the weeks that followed my husband's death, pouring through pictures and photo albums, trying to connect with the time we shared and find the significance in the relationship that we had. As I did that, I cried over the things we had dreamt of sharing as we raised our children, talking about their future, and how we wanted our life to turn out. I've learned as time's gone by and my children have grown, we have had to grieve for many things, and I've had to grieve with them every holiday, Father's Day, father-daughter dances, award ceremonies, graduations, and all of those things that parents share with their children. When these things happen, I then begin to anticipate the next celebrations he will miss, and I have moments of grief. These feelings do become less raw over time, and you will be able to cope with them better. It's just knowing that's going to happen helps you prepare yourself. The big picture and what I can say is this: you will recover. As a matter of fact, you can renew, recreate, and prosper. So how do you get from sorrow to joy? The first step is to decide that your loss will not be your defining moment. It's a chapter, not a life sentence. I know the rest of the book has been changed by this loss, so it may be hard to think in these terms. Our mindset is likely the most important determinant in the healing process. This does not mean you won't have feelings of sorrow, hopelessness, anger. It means you choose to understand that you are grieving. It means choosing that there is a future for you, knowing that this does not marginalize the loss you are healing from. Rather, it's a declaration that you honor that chapter of your life while acknowledging that you are more than your loss. Like I said, time frames are arbitrary. Don't compare your journey to anyone else's. There's the common saying that comparison is the thief of joy. This is true even during grieving. You may think that you should feel something different when you compare what you're feeling to someone else. Maybe they say they cry all night, but you don't. That does not mean that you are less hurt or sad. It means you're reacting to your loss in a different way. Stay steadfast to your mindset to heal and thrive. You must invest time in you. Your job is to take care of you. To find joy, you must do your grief work. We all walk through emotions differently. So identify what helps you process, spending time with family and friends, or is it support groups, reading about your loss in articles or books. We know today self-care is a trendy term to describe actions we take to focus on our mental health. There are 4 dimensions that are brought to our attention in mentalhealth.gov. They are health, home, purpose, and community. So health is making choices that benefit your physical body. Home, making a safe and comforting place to live. Purpose, find ways to fill your time that you find rewarding. That can come in the form of work, volunteering, going to school, being creative through music, art, or writing. The goal of purpose is to maintain your independence and to continue to be a part of society. And then community. This is the social network you create to support and be supported. These are all self-care. So what are some ideas that you can deploy in your journey? Some things that I've tried and have helped are meditation, exercise, staying hydrated, finding a hobby, inviting a friend over for coffee or a meal, not being afraid to ask for help, seek out counseling. Sometimes it's as simple as getting up and getting ready for the day. Try journaling your feelings or taking a bath with salts and fragrances, listening to your favorite music, getting a massage, a manicure, pedicure. Whatever it is that makes you feel good in the moment will help you stay positive and keep that mindset of recovery. We all have ways that settle our emotions so we can acknowledge them and process through what we are feeling in the moment. For me, faith with worship is one of the key components to my recovery. Prayer, reading the Bible, and focusing on God's plan to work things out for good are deeply helpful to me. We all have different religious and spiritual practices which support the needs of our soul and give us hope for our eternity, as well as knowing there's a larger plan. Connecting with those who are faithful and hearing testimony of their healing gave me great comfort. Grounding yourself with your faith allows your mind and body to calm, which helps deal with the emotions pertaining to our loss. Quieting our mind is also good for our body. When we have sadness and anxiety, it's felt in our body in many ways that can become a cycle of the escalation of our emotions and can even cause us physical pain. The more we can find strength and peace, the more we can move towards healing. Last, You don't have to be strong. When we experience loss, we are placed in a position of vulnerability. People mean well when they tell us we are strong and we're dealing so well with our loss. This can lead to us feeling like we must look like we are doing better than we are, or again, there are expectations for how we have to behave and how we feel. I just ask that you think about not trying to be strong, to let yourself heal in the way that suits you, in the time frame that is unique to you. You only have to be brave enough to get through each moment. Each moment turns into minutes, hours, days, months. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast, and I look forward to talking with you again soon. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook at Julianne Williams Brave Enough Community, and on Instagram at brave_community_enough_, where I post all kinds of inspirational ideas, and you can see some of the things that I'm doing as a part of the healing journey for me and for everyone around. Thank you.